Ready? Okay, guys, let's get started. So today's training is going to be a little different. We're going to take the next few hours, and it's going to be not just talking about training, but preparation for the week. We have Bourbon here. Very, very excited. Yay! All things awesome when it comes to worksite process, being able to understand how to follow up, how to gain referrals, all of the things necessary to be successful in this business. So very, very excited to have the knowledge in the room. I don't think you don't know this, but let me just, in case you don't, Bourbon at one point was the top closer in this entire company. So that's right. So the knowledge that she has is extensive and real. It's not theoretical, right? Sometimes, and I think you guys feel that in this agency, one of the things that we pride ourselves on is, and you hear it from me in the beginning, I've held every position in this company to the point of promotion. So I'm not going to ask you to do something I haven't done myself. That's Bourbon. So today's training, what you're going to get is going to be extensive tools that you either don't have, or we're going to sharpen the ones that you're currently using. So very, very excited to have the opportunity to have her go through what the training process looks like. This is going to be geared towards essays as well as future essays. I hope that if you're in this room and you're not an SA, your goal is to be an SA. We want to see leadership growth in this agency. That tells me that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, right? So Bourbon, I want to turn it over to you and lots and lots of knowledge.
All right. Yes, I'm coming. I'm coming. I can't see you. Oh my goodness. And they're gonna see the chin and all that over there.
Oh, yeah.
Go, let's go.
I set you up real nice.
I see it. No, just kidding. All right, you guys. So today, so was I able to get copies of everybody's blocks of time except Terry's team? That's what I need.
Do you have Derek's?
I have Lori and then I have
That's me.
Nicole. That's you.
That's my team.
Okay. So just the 10 block. This is for your.
Just you?
Just leave this here. All right, who else who's in Terry's team? Okay. All right, so who's 10 blocks that's not on Terry's team do I not have? I got Nicole, I got Lori, and I have Dolan.
We didn't know you needed everyone's. I thought it would go to one from each team. So-
Nope, I need everybody's. Yep, please.
Only people that are here. It's like, I don't know.
No, people that are here that are present. Yep.
Did she finish? I was about to say, did she finish?
Well, she wants to see what you have so far.
Yeah, so I know Terry's team, she specifically told you guys not to because she knew that I was having this training. There was just some miscommunication there, so don't worry about it. Yeah, you guys are good. But so just while we get these, what I'm gonna do is we've already had the conversation about the importance of 10 blocks, how to fill it out, right? How to utilize that to know how to pack call or what you need to pack call. So today, all we're doing is implementing. So I'm just gonna be up here answering any questions that you guys may have. We're still planning our week, so don't think that you have a 2-3 hour training with me and then you still have to get your routes done. We are gonna be getting all that done today together. And then I'm just gonna be here if you have any questions. I'm gonna be looking at some of y'all's routes. And then doing the math to make sure you guys understand how to really utilize this, okay? Reason being is our goal as of right now is 25 walk-ins a day. I'll start with that, okay? Having 25 walk-ins a day, the reason why we're wanting to do that, what's our goal a week, you guys? Not necessarily, not on walk-ins, but what is our goal for activity?
One close case, I mean, that's it, but.
Okay, so one close a case. How do we do that one close?
You want to set an appointment or do.
How many of-
Presentation?
How many presentations? That's what I'm looking for. All right, 4 presentations a week. Right, you consistently do that, then you will consistently close 1 case a week. All right. So right now we're starting from scratch. All right, we're wanting to know what your number is. We're wanting to get your specific data. We're learning how to make sure that we're logging everything correctly so that the data is there. So right now it's 25 a day. Right. The reason why we're focusing on that 25 a day is because we need to know what your true number is to get you for a week. Now, once you know what your 4 week, or how many walk-ins you need to do to get 4 presentations a week, then that becomes your number. Does that make sense? So when you look at your dashboard, usually the last number on that dashboard is how many walk-ins it takes to close a case. Right? So that's the number that we're wanting to get you to and bring that number down. The more you do this, the more comfortable you are in your skin, right? Eventually you'll get to the point where you can close 1 case after every 30 walk-ins. Okay. But that takes time and practice, and it's baby steps to get there. So starting off with 25 a day. So we did the math last time. Do you guys remember the math last time? How many walk-ins per hour can you do? If we're doing the math. It was how many minutes per? Yes. Right, so 15 minutes per walk-in, so that's 4 walk-ins per hour. Okay, if you have a full day, you're working 8 hours, a full day, how many stops can you do in that time frame?
28, take it out lunch.
20 if you take an hour lunch, okay? We're asking for 25. You guys think that's fair? You think that's doable? Thank you, my love.
Yep, that's Fred, mine, Bill's, Wyatt's, and Bobby's.
Perfect, okay,
So the only ones we didn't give you are the ones who haven't updated theirs at all yet.
okay, sounds good.
I'm gonna grab my laptop and then I'll be right back.
Okay. So, so the whole point of this is I want to make sure that you. Used to
Sorry.
walking around, sorry.
Sorry.
I want to make sure that you guys are planned for success every day. Okay. Our goal obviously is having enrollments, right? Having presentations, having appointments. That's what we do, right? But what happens, has anybody here ever gone to an enrollment and it doesn't happen? See how many hands? Everybody's hand should go up unless if you just started, right? It happens sometimes. And if you're not prepared, if you don't have the activity scheduled, then what typically happens is you're either gonna waste your time by doing random walk-ins, right? Because you don't want to go home, you want to show some kind of activity, but it's not activity that was really planned. And don't get me wrong, I love Holy Ghost prospecting, that's what I call it, right? When I go into a place that I didn't pack call or have anything scheduled, but those are far few in between, right? Or if I'm going from one stop to a next, and I see this business and it's full of cars, and I do a quick search and they're headquartered here, I'm gonna take that opportunity to walk in. But I'm not gonna plan my whole day around that, right? But how better, because an enrollment not happening is never good, right? But how better would it be if your situation is, you go to the enrollment, XYZ, whatever reason, you can't enroll that day. But now you have a whole plan for that day. You go out and you close a case based on the efforts and the work that you put. I doubt you're gonna go home that day saying, man, this day sucked, or this day was a waste of time, right? But if you only plan for the enrollment and you don't give yourself the opportunity to have success that day, and then you have a crappy prospecting day because it wasn't planned, and then you go home, now you're upset because the enrollment didn't happen, and you're upset because you didn't have anything good that came out of the day. But was it that you didn't have anything good come out of the day, or you weren't prepared to have a good day? Right? So that is the direction that we're going into now. Every day, you need to have 25 stops planned. If you have an enrollment that day, you're still gonna have how many stops planned? 25. Okay. That again, the best way I can put this out there, and I'm an ex-vet, so is going to the battlefield with enough bullets. The last thing you want to do is run out of ammo. Right? When you go out a day to prospect and that enrollment falls through, and you don't have enough stops to make up for that time, you just ran out of ammo. Are you going to have a successful day? Okay. So that's the whole point of today, is us getting in that habit. And the way I want to do it is you guys really utilizing the 10 blocks. Okay. So your 10 blocks is going to have the enrollments you have scheduled for that week, right? But it's also going to show your plan B, right? So what I want you guys to start doing, and I know Terry's going to work on it because she's been revamping the 10 blocks, but on every day, if it's 25 stops, okay, you're gonna take your appointments and your follow-up, your scheduled follow-ups, and you're gonna deduct that from 25, right? Because whether these happen or not, whether the DM is there or not, you still drove to the place, you're still talking to the gatekeeper, it's still gonna be considered a walk-in, okay? Now, when you take that aside, then that leaves you with how many stops you need to fill in that day with, right? And then we all know the 60-40 split. Right? So once you do that, this is all math on how to make sure you're maximizing your day. Then you need to figure out how many new stops you need to add and how many follow-ups you have. Okay. Have I lost anybody yet? Okay, cool. Now, from that, now you know how many new stops you need for, let's say, Tuesday. From there, now you can figure out how many pack calls you need. Because just because you need a new stop doesn't mean you need a pack. Just because you need 10 new stops doesn't mean that you need a pack call all 10. Why? There were some pack calls that you've already done. There were some places that you were prepared for success and the enrollment did go through and you had already pack called some of those. So now you can move those leads over to that day, right? So just because you need new stops, new leads, doesn't mean that you need to pack call each one. So all that to say, then from that number, let's say it's 10, let's say all you need really is 4 new pack calls for that day to be able to complete that route. Does that make sense? And then that number, I want you guys to put somewhere on that day so that you know, okay, I need to make sure I pack call 4 new businesses for this day. Okay, that is a preparation of why 10 blocks are important. If you guys don't do all of this, I guarantee you that every week you're gonna pack call businesses that you don't need to pack call, which means you're wasting time. Does that make sense? And time is money. All right, so any questions on that? Okay, so that also goes to show. Technically, it's 32 stops. Right, whether you take lunch, eat, or whatever the case may be. If you have an enrollment, okay, and this enrollment takes you 2 hours, you still have 6 hours to be able to go out there and prospect. Would you agree? If you do the 6 times 4, how many does that give you? So you can still have a 2-hour enrollment, and guess what? Still knock out 24 walk-ins. Go figure. All right. What happens with a lot of us, because we don't have it prepared, it's not planned out, is that we have an enrollment for 2 to 3 hours, we feel good about ourselves, and then we do 3 or 4 walk-ins. Well, how much did we really work that day? And we hurt ourselves. Because the lack of work that we did that day is going to trickle on for the next 2 or 3 weeks. Does that make sense? Okay. Any questions on how we want these 10 blocks to be filled? And how to really utilize it to maximize your work. Yes.
So I know there's been some debate on our team, and I just kind of want to get your opinion on it. The start time, you know, like at the top where it's like 8 to 5 or whatever.
Mhm.
Do you want that to be the first door we walk into?
Yes.
Or when we like leave our house?
Nope. So if you were to work a 9 to 5 and you got to punch in at 8, that 8 is when you actually punch in into the office, right? It's not your drive time to the office.
Right.
Same thing. Okay. I know some of you guys like to drive 2 hours or an hour and a half or even 3 hours.
Like to.
Right.
Yeah.
You guys do it though, is what I'm, you know. That does not count for your 8 hours worth of work. That's drive time. Okay. So, all right. So yes, the time that you put on here is the time that you plan to do your first walk-in. Okay. Any other questions? Any questions on the math?
This is just like an average, like you got nothing else going on that day, right? Yeah.
Every day, you need to have 25 stops on your route. Every day, whether you have an enrollment scheduled or not. Because we understand, I'd rather you be overly prepared than underprepared. Right? So overly prepared is you show up to the enrollment and the enrollment happens. You're good to go. You spent 4 hours enrolling. you know, and now you can only knock out 15 walk-ins, but you plan for 25. That's being overly prepared. That's giving yourself the maximum amount of time and opportunity to be successful. Okay. What I don't want you to do is be underly prepared where you have an enrollment, you're expecting it to take you 4 hours, it's a no-show, or somebody's sick, or they forgot that you were coming, and so you have to reschedule, and now you only have 7 stops on your route or 10 stops on your route when you really need 25 to maximize that day. Okay. Does that make sense? Any questions? All right, so let's see. Want to just pick one?
I don't wanna do it.
No,
What do I have to
I
do?
flipped them. I flipped them over. I flipped them over. Just pick one.
Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle.
Mhm. Who we got here? Philip. Look, his head shot. He's like,
He's like,
oh
"Oh,
no.
shit."
No, all right. So let's see his 10 blocks. So on Tuesday, for example, let's see, we got where he's gonna be Warrington. All right, his goal, it looks like here's 30 walk-ins. I don't like it. Okay, minimum is 25.
Yeah.
By all means, do all that you want,
I like
but
it.
nothing less than 25, okay? So on this day, he has nothing planned. No scheduled follow-ups, no appointments, no presentations. So we need to see, his goal is 30, so on his route, we want to make sure there's 30 on there, no less than 25, okay? So what I want you guys to do, so for Philip here, right? It's out of this day, is this a brand new area for you, or have you been working there?
I've been there once so far.
Okay.
Just went through and tried to solve what things that were there, stuff like that. It's a very new route.
Okay, all right, perfect. So then, what is your split? What are you planning? Is it, how many new walk-ins you want to do and how many follow-ups are you gonna go into?
I'm going to do, I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna pick the weeks that are the strongest. And if I see, like you said, like if I drive by a business, there's tons of empty cars and it looks like a good place to stop, I'll probably stop in. Give them a card and talk with them. see if
We don't
they-
give out cards. Please don't ever say that again. Okay, but you need to have a plan though, right? So that's already while you're in the town and you're going through, right? So how many follow-ups do you have? How many businesses, let's say, have you been into in this place? I know you only been there once, so
Oh,
about 20? Okay. So let's say you want to revisit, let's say 15 of those, and let's do another 15 brand new, right? So out of those 20, or I guess out of those 15 new, do you have any ones that you Pat called already that you just didn't go to that first go around
Oh, yeah, I have tons of back calls.
for this area?
For that area and, surrounding area.
Okay, perfect. So based on his information, do you think he needs any Pat calls for Tuesday? Nope. Okay, good, because he's already Pat called, he already has someone reserved, he's good to go. All he has to do is put his route together. All right, for Tuesday. So we go to Wednesday, let's see here. So same thing. So for this week, do you have any appointments or scheduled follow-ups? Okay, all right, so then that's what you will do every day, right? And then figure out where are we, how many new leads we have, how many Pat calls do we need? And then today, in a few minutes, all you're gonna be focusing on are those new Pat calls done. Okay, once you're done with those new Pat calls and you build your routes, then you wanna make sure that you have all the research you need for your full route, okay? All right, awesome. Let's see. Okay, Wyatt.
Oh,
He's like, oh, no. No, we're just doing, just over explaining. All right, so for Tuesday, we are prospecting, is it Alton?
yes.
Okay. And then the first thing you have on here It's a 3 PM follow-up. Alright, so on Tuesday, all he has is one thing scheduled. Okay, so what do we do? What's the math? Walk me through it.
They schedule each have 27 walk-ins already. Well, 28 was the limit, right?
Well,
25.
It's 25 minimum.
He needs 24 on the route plus the appointment.
Okay, exactly. And then is this an area that you have quite a few pack holes already? Is this a new area that you're working?
So, yeah, I also, so plan is, I have about 8 that I wanna revisit, and everything else is.
Okay, so you have like 8 follow-ups that you're wanting to do? Okay, all right, so,
That's the only schedule possible.
but it's still a follow-up for you. All right, so you already know somewhat what you need. And then after that, then you need to figure out how many new leads. And out of those new leads, how many have already been pack called and how many pack calls you need. Okay, the whole point of having this written down, you guys, is how many of you guys like pack calls? I know there was a few of you last time I was here that you guys actually liked it. I was like, okay. The majority of people do not like pack calls. So the last thing I want to do is make you do busy work, even if you do enjoy them. I don't want you just doing them just to do it. Right? Make sure that whatever you're spending your time on makes sense on why you're doing it. Okay. So then from there, you'd figure out of the ones that you have, those new stops that have not been pack called, how many you need, and you write that number down. You guys, I want you to do this for every day before you even pick up the phone. Okay. That way you have a game plan of what your number is, how many pack calls you need for that week. Okay. Dolan looks kind of busy. Nicole's is busy. All right, so you guys get the point. I don't need to keep going. You guys ready?
I have a question about the pack phone.
Sure.
Are we still shooting for 60 packs? Should we be packing
Nope.
it ahead?
No.
Don't get me wrong, doesn't that feel like you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot a little bit? Only working on the week that you're working on?
Why?
Wouldn't you like to get ahead?
Why would you need to get ahead if you don't even have this week's done?
Because life happens, so like if you're like, say, you're Stephen sick on a Monday, you can't make it to the office to back off, you got a booked week outside of that, then you come in next week, you're already behind, right?
Not necessarily. And that's not the normal, right? That's something happens, so then now you have to pivot. I'd rather you have this week completely secure. Because here's what's happening. What I've heard many, many, many times is that you guys don't have enough time on Mondays to effectively prepare for your week. All right. And that's walking away with 4 solid routes with the amount of stops that you need and all of them perfectly researched. Right? Because we have trainings, we have meetings. Is that
Sorry.
incorrect?
No, you're right.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
You're good.
That's what I heard. So we're trying to find ways to maximize your time in here to where you can actually be successful out there. But that also means that you're not leaving here on Mondays until you have 4 solid routes. You have your Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then your half a route on Friday.
I guess my confusion is,
Mhm.
say you got a brand new agent, right? And they
That's
go-
different.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Brand new
I'm saying-
agents don't have anything else to do but to shadow their essay. So yes, they will be consistently calling that Monday. Their goal is, to get their 160. Right, but once they're actually out, and these are for people that are actually out, self-sufficient, out in the field, they've already had their field certification. It's how do you become successful without wasting time?
I guess my question is, how do you pick your areas that you go? Because I pick my areas based on where I pack. So I get my packs first, then I'm like, okay, I got 30 qualified leads in this area, let's go work in this area.
I mean, that's up to you.
I'm sorry.
No, please, because if you have these questions,
Because
they
my-
have it, so this
my-
doesn't
my
bother me at all.
confusion, I guess comes in, if I don't know where I'm gonna be until Monday when I sit down and look, and then I'm trying to pack for each of those individuals.
Why don't you know until Monday? You should know by Friday where you're gonna be at the next week,
Okay, so say I know Friday,
okay?
like, shouldn't I have those packs already in place?
Well-
That way I can sit down, I can make my routes, I have my essay there, make sure my routes are solid, and then I'm packing for next week. Because you said it yourself, by Friday, I should know where I'm at. Well, I don't know where
Right.
I'm at until I pack solid.
But that's backwards. Why don't you know where you're at before you pack call? You
Because
should
I-
know where you're wanting to go because that's what's gonna dictate what you need to pack call.
Yeah, I do it, so like, I'll be like, okay, I'll look at the map and I'll be like, oh, I haven't been in this area. Let me pick a town in this area that looks big enough, so.
So that, it sounds like you're going to new businesses all the time, and that's not how we run our business.
Oh, no. So basically the way I do it is
Mhm.
I'll look at a place, say I want to prospect Vandalia, never been to Vandalia before. So I'll spend my, 2 hours that's allotted in the morning, I'll be back calling Vandalia.
But that's a new area.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I didn't know if I wanted to go there like say on Friday and then I got my pack calls from Vandalia.
so that's the problem. You need to know where you're wanting to go, right? So you shouldn't be going to new areas all the time. You need to plant your flag in a couple areas
Yeah, work.
that are close, right? And then work them to the maximum, right? To where you can't get anything else out of that. And only then do you go to another area. Now, whenever you go to a brand new area, you should still know that you're going to a brand new area before Monday, so that you are pack calling them on Friday. And on Friday, yeah, you are gonna need, if it's a brand new area and you have nothing there, well, guess what? You need a pack call at least 80 places to be able to maximize that week, right? So then in your case, yeah, you're gonna spend all that time pack calling. But what I don't want you guys doing is on Friday or Monday, spending time on something that's not gonna give you an immediate return for that week. Because what you're doing is, when you're just pack calling just to pack call, to hit a number, you're taking time away from being able to really plan out and strategically plan out your week to give you success for that week.
So can I surmise here, I think?
By all means.
So I'm gonna say you two are probably talking past each other a little bit because you assumed you'd already done that, where you'd worked your area.
Yeah, I'm always ahead. I'm always a week ahead.
But-
So like coming into this week, I did this week's last week, so I already know I got my total fine for my routes, my packs, everything.
How many of you guys are 2 weeks ahead or a week ahead?
Yeah, you're the anomaly over there.
I thought I was the norm, I'm sorry.
No, you're doing great. That's a good thing. But most people are probably not in that boat.
But then this conversation wouldn't apply to you anyway. Because you already have your 10 blocks. You already know what you had to pack call. Your routes are already done. So this week you're not planning this week. This week you're planning next week, and the rules still apply.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Alright.
So next week, if you're planning for next week, I still don't want you calling randomly 60 leads, because that's not what you're gonna need for next week. You might only need 25. Or you might need 62. My point is calling whatever you need for whatever week you're planning. But I will tell you, normally people are not 2 weeks ahead. They don't even have that week fully planned out, which is why we're having this training. My bad. All right, cool. No, this is good stuff. It's good stuff.
That's how.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Prepared.
Yeah.
My bad.
That's spoiled.
Thanks, Daniel. I mean.
No.
Did I raise my hand when I said it was 2 weeks ahead? No. She can see, I know.
Okay, so that's the whole point. All right. And also, you guys, I like that you guys are 2 weeks ahead. But does that put up walls? Because what if you walk into a business, you already have next week planned, so when's your follow-up? 2 weeks away?
Plans can change. I mean, if I'm out there, the DM's like, I've only got this day.
Then you
I
pivot.
Yeah.
But do you-
Let's work for the next week.
But do you,
exactly.
but do you offer that?
Absolutely. I work on the DM schedule. When I sit down.
That's my problem. That's what I don't want you doing.
Well, when I sit down, I say, I've got this day and this day.
Okay,
Those-
right, but
those
what
days
are-
Don't work,
but-
I got this day.
Okay, back up. But what are those this day and that day? Is that this day or that day, I got this afternoon and tomorrow morning? Or is that this day or that day in 2 weeks when you're gonna be back in that area?
I always shoot the ball.
As a shot to the heart.
One within 48 now.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I know.
Thank
Well,
you.
like with me, I usually have like, most times I have like scheduled
Mhm.
appointments for like the next day,
Mhm.
whatnot. So usually when I do that, I understand you want to get it within 48 hours, but if I'm gonna be.
But you're so cool, you already have the next day planned out, which is great. But according to these, there's a lot of times where people don't have any appointments or anything scheduled for the next day, right? So for somebody that we're prospecting Tuesday and Wednesday's blank, then it's either this afternoon or tomorrow, right? please do not get confused. The mission of what we do of the operation is not how many walk-ins you can get in. It's how much activity activity that's gonna get me to a close, right? So that's the 4 presentations a week. So my only issue with being 2 weeks ahead is making sure, now, if you're working the same area, by all means, be 2 or 3 weeks ahead, because now all you're doing is plugging in that appointment into that day and you're just removing a stop. Right? So you can still set that immediate appointment and it really doesn't mess up. But if you're working multiple areas and you're having that 48-hour sense of urgency, how many times are you gonna have to change your route and your schedule? You're overworking. Does that make sense? But if you're in the same area, I was in the same area. I prospected Garland for 4 years. Only time I stepped away was if I had an enrollment and I was, prospecting in that area and all that. So I could be 2 or 3 weeks ahead because my drive from no matter where I was at to where I had to be was maybe 30 minutes max.
4 years? What state?
Texas, baby.
Okay.
Dallas area. Trust, yeah. Yeah. I know that doesn't work for, areas like this, but
Oh, you said 4 years. I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, 4 years.
Yeah, yeah. And you guys, and I left and I still didn't maximize all of Garland.
Oh, wow.
But Garland is a very heavy blue collar, city. It's on the outskirts of Dallas, pretty big. So yeah, I mean, I had that privilege. I know some of you guys don't, depending on where you guys work. But all right, so we understand 10 blocks of time. Ignore these overachievers over here. I'm just kidding. No, it's good. It's good to, and if you guys can all get to that, that's wonderful. Right? But what I am finding, especially when I do route inspections, is that there's not 4 routes for everybody at 5 or 6 o'clock on Monday. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of time to go ahead and fill out your 10 blocks. And then what I want is to know how many of you guys already have routes for today built? For this week,
Oh.
You have your routes built.
He's like, not all, but
No, you're not cheating. You're.
Okay. So, how many people still need to make PAC calls to complete their 4 routes? Or are all PAC calls done?
Give a thumbs up if your packs are done, give a thumbs down if your packs are not done. How's that? Then, can you build your routes without doing any more packs? Cool. There you go.
All right, cool. And how about research? All right, cool. All right, so let's go ahead and build our routes. And and complete your research. Yes.
Here's where I'm gonna be a pain.
Oh, Jesus.
I know. So, you've seen mine. Tuesday, Thursday are blank.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday, there's 2 enrollments. One is in Poplar Bluff where I have an infant,
Mm-hmm.
or one is in St. Louis where I live.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask my GA,
Mm-hmm.
how would we like to split that up?
Mm-hmm.
My GA is not available at the moment because my GA is enrolling / on his way back from an enrollment.
So go to your 80. There's no answer that your GA can give you that your AD shouldn't be able to give you.
Okay.
Because I need to make sure that by the end of today, you're planned for success and you have 25 stops. There is no blank spots. You guys, I don't care if you're an SA or GA and you're running with someone. People get sick all the time. And if you're an SA, you should be running your route anyway, not your brand new agents. So as SAs, you should always be prepared with your own activity. Good. So it's just like, all right. So that's, what time is it?
141.
Okay. And then what time do we do route inspections?
Whatever time you want to do that. We have up until 4 o'clock for our agency meeting.
All right, so let's do till 3.
Okay, so at 3 o'clock, we'll get back on and we can pull it up. I can pull it up here.
Yeah, let's do 3. All right, guys, so at 3 o'clock, I'm gonna come back out. And then I'm gonna randomly select some routes and we're gonna go over them. Is anybody here sensitive? Like, do their feelings get hurt?
Oh my God.
Did we all resign?
Alright. It's like, alright.
So everybody
Did
that's
you take
on,
note of who's sensitive?
yeah, I don't care about any of them. Like, make them cry.
Well, no, I don't
None of
want,
them are on my team
I
also,
don't want
so.
people to hate me, so. Just gotta make sure. Dang.
What did he say?
He said too late. Alright.
Hey, you can use any of it on Derek's team. We ain't sensitive.
I like it, Hunter. Everybody that's virtual, log back into the same Zoom link at 3 o'clock and we'll pull up the routes. We'll pull them up on the computer so that we can talk through what do they look like? Are we prepared for the week? Make
Alright,
sense?
so, yep, so here's a couple things that I want you guys to know. How many stops do we need to see? For Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay? And then, what do we do for Friday? Are you guys at like 12, 15 for Fridays?
Sure.
Well, that's half.
It should be 15.
Okay,
but
so then
I
15
don't know what
stops,
we're all doing.
15 stops for Friday. Alright, and then research. But you guys, does it end there? How many of you guys are using, what are the bad days? Perfect. I like seeing more hands up. All right, cool. That's gonna help you build your route a lot quicker, right? Because on your notes, on the research section, next to the time and date that you Pat called, should be BTTR, which stands for best time to reach. And then your information when you're using the, what are their bad days? All right, so if their best times to reach is Tuesday afternoons, then you already know if you're building for Wednesday, that's not a lead you're gonna put on Wednesday. Right, you need to put them on Tuesday if you're gonna be in that area. Does that make sense? So that's what I'm looking for. Best times to reach, make sure that they're on the right days. If you guys are not doing that, make sure you start putting that in your notes. It's gonna help your Fridays and Mondays go a lot quicker. All right. Another thing I'm gonna look for is the hours. All right, I was doing route inspections this morning and I saw a couple people, not from here, that their first and second stop didn't open, and one opened at 10, one opened at 11, and it was a first and second stop. And they're starting at 8. Exactly, that's exactly my face. I was like, what? All right. So, also, if out of 25 stops, 20 of them are white collar, I'm gonna send you back. Okay. And if, no, there is no reason for your schedule to be heavily white collar. I'll listen to your argument and we can go toe to toe, and then whoever wins, wins, on that. I'm not saying I'll win. You could win, and if it makes sense, I'll be like, all right, cool, makes sense. But just know that I'm gonna look at your numbers. I'm gonna see, your success. I'm gonna see how many appointments you've set, and I'm gonna see how many closes you've had. And I'm also gonna pull up your ICM. So that means I'm also gonna look at your paycheck. And I'm also gonna ask you, out of this AP, how much did you physically write out of these white collars and how much was given to you? So unless if you're happy with all those, answering all those questions, then don't fight me on white collar. Okay, let's go. It's gonna be good. 3 o'clock.